Welcome back to the deep dive. We are jumping straight into the thick of it today. We're looking at the week of February 2nd to the 6th, 2026. And I had to say, looking at the stack of research and reports on the desk, the vibe feels very specific. It's all signal, not noise.
It is about time, honestly. If you were looking at the headlines this week for, some flashy new gadget or a big celebrity partnership, you'd be disappointed. That is just not what happened. This wasn't a week for the marketing gloss. This was a week for the engineers.
It feels like the industry decided to finally call a
plumber. That's a great way to put it. This week was all about the plumbing. The popes of AdTech are getting a forced inspection. We're calling it the transparency squeeze.
The transparency squeeze. I like that. But let's be real for a second. People talk about transparency constantly. It's usually just a buzzword, right? You hear it at conferences, and then come Monday morning, it's forgotten. Why is this week different? Why should you, the operator listening, actually care this time?
Because the black boxes are being pried open by force, not by choice. From programmatic auctions all the way to brand safety, vendors are being told that the days of trust me are effectively over. We are firmly in the era of show me the data. If you're an operator, that's your new reality. Verifiable, standardized data isn't a nice to have anymore. As of this week, it is the cost of doing business.
Okay, so a lot to unpack. We're going to talk about the Media Ratings Council dropping the hammer on auctions. We're going to look at agentic advertising, which sounds like sci-fi, but I guess it isn't.
It's coming faster than you think.
And we've got retail media literally tracking physical shopping carts. Packed agenda.
It is.
So let's start with that plumbing overhaul. The Media Ratings Council, the MRC, they released new mandates this week.
Yeah.
Now, usually when I hear standards body releases mandates, my eyes just glaze over.
It sounds like homework. I get it.
It really does.
Yeah.
But you're telling me this is actually a smoking gun?
It is a direct shot at how money moves in this industry. For years, everyone's complained about the opacity of the supply chain. You put $1 in, you get some impressions out, but what happens in the middle?
It's a black box.
Total black box. These MRC mandates are designed to blow that box wide open.
Okay, but we've had initiatives before, right? We've had ads.txt, sellers.json. Why is this set of mandates going to change anything?
Because this one attacks the auction dynamics directly. There are, I think, 4 key components, but the one that's going to cause the most, let's say, headaches and also the most clarity is the requirement for DSPs to submit all valid bids.
Wait, back up. They weren't doing that before. If I'm a buyer and I bid on something, I just assumed my bid was being submitted.
That's the common assumption. It wasn't always reality. DSPs have historically done a lot of filtering behind the scenes. They might look at the traffic and say, you know what, it costs us money to process all these bids, so we're only sending the ones we think have a 90% chance of winning.
So they were curating the auction without telling the buyer.
Essentially, it was a black box filtering process. This mandate forces all of those bids into the sunlight. If it's a valid bid, it has to go to auction.
That feels like a massive shift in leverage. It sounds expensive for the DSPs, though.
Oh, it is. It is expensive. Compute power is not free. But the MRC is saying transparency is worth the cost. And then you pair that with the Universal Transaction ID, the TID.
A TI, so this is just another acronym we have to track.
Think of it like a tracking number for a package, but for one ad impression. The MRC is now requiring this across the entire supply chain.
The entire supply
The entire thing. So we can finally track an impression from the publisher all the way to the advertiser.
So no more disappearing impressions or magical inventory just showing up out of nowhere.
It makes it infinitely harder to spoof. If you can't produce that TID chain, you can't prove the impression is real.
What about video? I saw something in the notes about video.plcmt.
Yeah, this fixes one of the oldest scams in the book. For years, you'd have publishers take a tiny banner slot, jam a video player in it, and then label it as in-stream video.
Charging premium video prices for a banner ad.
Exactly. The video.plcmt field is now mandatory. If it's not truly in-stream, you can't label it that way. And finally, the Global Placement ID, or GPID.
Okay, so if I'm an operator, do I just sit back and wait for the clean data? Or is there something I need to do now?
You need to be aggressive. The immediate action is to get your DSPs and SSPs on the phone this week and ask for their compliance roadmap. Specifically ask about TIDs and GPID. If they give you a vague answer like, oh, we're reviewing the guidelines.
Red flag.
That is a huge red flag. You want to hear, here is our Q2 implementation plan.
Show me the roadmap or show yourself out.
That's the attitude you need.
Okay, so that's the open web getting cleaned up. But let's pivot the other side of the landscape. The walled gardens. It feels like while the open web is being forced open, the big platforms are just building higher walls.
That's the irony of the transparency squeeze, isn't it? It squeezes differently depending on where you are. And inside the walled gardens Meta, Google, the walls just got higher. The windows got smaller.
Let's talk Meta first. They announced a pretty significant crackdown on data usage.
They did. Starting September 2025, and we are rapidly approaching that, they are blocking sensitive data for custom audiences and conversions. We're talking health data, financial data.
So if I'm a bank or a healthcare provider, how do I find my audience?
Well, you don't find them by uploading a list of people with diabetes or high credit scores anymore. That door is slamming shut. You have to rely on broader signals and, well, let the algorithm find them.
And over at Google, same story.
A similar story. Google is killing standalone call ads. They're forcing everyone over to responsive search ads. They're also restricting gambling ad personalization in India, introducing a global RTB control privacy setting.
I'm sensing a pattern here. Every single one of these updates seems to remove a lever that a human used to pull.
The pattern is less control, more automation. The platforms are all saying, don't worry about the details, just give us the goal and let our algorithm handle it.
Right, you're not building the house anymore. You're just telling the architect what style you like.
That is a great analogy. Operators are no longer building ads in the traditional sense. You are now shepherding signals. You're feeding the machine. If you're still trying to manually build campaigns on these platforms, you are fighting a losing battle against their automation.
But does this trust the machine approach actually work? Or is it just a way for them to charge us more?
That is the skepticism everyone has. But here's where it gets interesting. The source material mentioned a concept called the privacy premium. We used to think of privacy as, a compliance headache.
Check the box so we don't get sued.
Right. But the data is showing something else. Brands that prioritize transparency and trust. The ones that work with these privacy constraints instead of trying to hack around them, they're seeing conversion rates up to 20% higher.
20%. That's not a rounding error. That's a huge performance lift.
It is. Privacy is now a performance metric. Turns out, people buy more from brands they trust not to be creepy.
So the takeaway here is that your first-party data strategy, it isn't a side project. It is the project.
It's a whole project, because relying on third-party data inside these platforms is, as the report puts it, a ticking time bomb.
Okay, speaking of machines taking over.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the robots. This was probably the most futuristic headline of the week.
Ah, yes. Agentic advertising.
The IAB Tech Lab launched the Agentic Advertising Initiative. Now, we need to be clear here. This isn't just about generative AI, right? This isn't just ChatGPT writing a funny headline.
No, this is distinct. Generative AI creates content. Agentic AI executes tasks. We're talking about autonomous software agents that can plan, negotiate, and optimize media buys without a human ever clicking approve.
So, a bot buying ads from another bot.
Exactly. And without a standard language, that would be a complete disaster. It'd be chaos. So the IAB is adapting standards like OpenRTB to let these agents talk to each other.
But how does a bot know what it's looking at? If I send my bot to a website to buy ad space, how does it know the difference between a premium news site and some garbage link farm?
That is the billion-dollar question. And it's why Amazon's announcement this week is so critical. Amazon has opened its ad stack to AI agents through something called the Model Context Protocol, or MCP.
MCP, break that down for us. What is it actually doing?
Think of it like an API for context.
Yeah.
Usually an AI agent is flying blind on a website. It has to guess what the buttons do. MCP gives the agent a standard way to ask the site, what is on this page? What can I buy here? What are the rules? It turns the open web into a structured database a robot can read.
So Amazon is basically putting out the welcome mat for the bots.
They are opening the door wide. And this is the implication for you listening. This is the starting gun. The race is on to figure out how to leverage these AI agents. It's not a test anymore. The robots are coming, and now they're getting organized.
And there's also a free agent registry launching in March 2026.
Yes. That's the safety layer. It ensures transparency so you know if you're negotiating with a human or with a piece of code. Because if you think you're haggling with the sales rep, but you're actually arguing with an algorithm, you're going to lose.
Okay, so operators need to assign someone on their team to read up on this immediately.
Yes. Understand the frameworks early, or you'll be structurally disadvantaged when automated negotiation starts for real.
Now, while the robots are getting organized, the humans Specifically, publishers seem to be in a crisis. We saw reports this week that AI search is really starting to bite.
It's a double-edged sword for publishers right now. On one side, AI-powered search engines are answering user queries directly on the results page, so people aren't clicking through to the articles.
Right, why click the link when the AI just summarizes the answer for you? Referral traffic is getting gutted.
And on the other edge of the sword, those same AI companies are scraping the publisher's content to train their models, often without paying a dime. The IAB is calling it an existential crisis for the open web.
That sounds grim.
Yeah.
Is there a way out?
We are seeing a pivot. Smart publishers are diversifying. They're realizing they just can't rely on search traffic anymore. We saw some numbers this week. People Inc. saw 14% digital revenue growth, not from search, from platform partnerships. The New York Times saw 25% growth from video and new verticals.
So the model is shifting from get clicks to content licensing.
That's the new battleground. And if you're a media buyer listening to this, you have to care because this impacts inventory quality. If the open web struggles, where do you put your ads? You end up stuck in the walled gardens. The value of premium, human-curated content is being tested.
Let's move to where the ads are running right now. Connected TV. CTV. It's been the buzzword for years, but our source material calls it linear TV's annoying younger sibling. That feels a little harsh.
It's harsh, but it fits the frustration. The issue is the measurement gap. Advertisers are paying these high premium CPMs, but they're not getting the granular show-level data they're used to from linear.
So it's expensive and vague. Not a great combo.
It's the sticker shock problem. However, the material points out that when it works, it really works. There was a case study mentioned from Nexon and HL.
Right. They showed a 14x lift in conversion outcomes.
14x. That's massive. The potential is there. The advice for the operator is to just ignore the silver bullet attribution claims. Don't let a vendor tell you they can track everything perfectly. Instead, focus on metrics you can trust, like cost per unique reach.
Keep it simple. Now, here's the part of the deep dive that really surprised me. Retail media. We usually think of this as ads on a grocery store website, but it's going physical.
The line between online and offline is dissolving. The most striking example this week is Albertsons.
The grocery store.
Yep. They are testing trackers on physical shopping carts.
Okay, hold on. We're not just talking about counting people who walk in the door. We're talking about tracking the cart's journey through the aisles.
Yes. But think about why. It's not just to see where you walk. It's to close the attribution loop. They want to know if you saw a digital sign in aisle 4 for a specific cereal, and then if you actually put that cereal in your cart in aisle 5.
That is intense attribution. Wow. And it's not just them. Ace Hardware spun up a retail media network, Red Vest Media, in 6 months.
6 months. It's incredibly fast,
Yeah.
and it shows the demand. The insight here is that the operators who figure out how to bridge this gap connecting data from a physical cart to an online profile will unlock the next massive wave of spend.
The holy grail of attribution, connecting the digital ad to the physical purchase.
Exactly.
Before we wrap up, we have to talk about the bad guys.
Fraud.
The war on fraud.
We saw some movement in the U.S. Senate this week. The Scam Act.
It's a bipartisan bill, and it requires platforms to verify advertiser identities. Again, it goes back to the transparency squeeze. The era of anonymous ads is ending.
And it looks like the fight is working. It is. A TAG 2025 report came out showing a massive drop in European ad fraud. And here's a number I love to see. Made for advertising, spend MFA sites, has dropped below 0.5% for the first time.
That's excellent news. MFA sites are those spammy websites designed only to load 100 ads at once.
They're just value extraction machines. Seeing that number drop below 0.5% means the money is finally moving from junk sites to real publishers. And we're also seeing innovation in safety. Hearst is moving away from keyword blocking.
Which hurts news publishers because news is often full of those blocked words.
Precisely. They're moving to context-aware safety. The AI reads the context of the article. This opens up more safe inventory and actually lowers CPMs.
Okay, let's look ahead. Based on everything we've seen, what are your predictions for next week?
3 things to watch. First, expect a flood of press releases from vendors claiming MRC compliance.
Everyone's scrambling to say we have the IDs.
They have to. They don't want to look like a black box. Second, someone, I guarantee it, will launch an AI-powered CTV tool that is 90% fluff.
Beware the hype. If they can't explain how it works, don't buy it.
And third, watch for a major publisher to sign a landmark content licensing deal with an AI company. Those NYT growth numbers are going to inspire others.
So for the listener, what's the action plan? 3 things for Monday morning. What are they?
Number 1, Demand the roadmaps. Call your DSPs and SSPs. Ask specifically about universal tidies and GPID compliance. Do not take, "we're working on it," for an answer.
Action 1, grill the partners.
Number 2, audit Meta. Check your exposure to that sensitive data ban coming in September. If you rely on health or financial targeting, you need a transition plan now, not in August.
Action 2, check your targeting.
And number 3, study Agentic AI. Assign someone on your team to read the IAB's initiative details. Don't let the robots organize without you understanding the rules.
I love it. Clear, actionable.
If I can leave you with one final thought,
Please.
we are moving from a world of how do we track to how do we compute without seeing.
That sounds philosophical. Compute without seeing. Explain what that means for the person buying media today.
Think about it. With privacy laws, walled gardens, signal loss, we can't see the individual user anymore. We can't track their every move. That era is dead.
So we're flying blind.
Not blind, but we have to trust the computation. We have to use things like data clean rooms and cryptographic attribution where we get the answer, did the ad work, without ever seeing the input who saw the ad.
So it's about verifying the math, not stalking the user.
Exactly. If your whole strategy still relies on that old, "trust me, I track them" model, you're not just behind, you are obsolete. The future is verifiable computation on data you cannot see.
That is a profound shift. It's scary, but it's also cleaner.
It's necessary.
Well, there you have it. The plumbing is getting fixed, the robots are getting organized, and the shopping carts are watching you. Stay focused on the signal, everyone. We'll see you in the next deep dive.